Hello there, Big Benedict here. We're playing Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2, and this is my Angel of Death difficulty guide and walkthrough. We're currently on the final operation, and it is, well, it's technically Operation 5, but my numbering system has been a little different than how it's laid out on the menu. But the final mission is Dawn's Descent concluded, as well as Beyond the Rift. So we're gonna do some just running around at first, and then some fighting, some traditional sort of battles, and then there will be a it's not a boss rush, but it's the boss is at the end, and unfortunately I ran into a bit of a snag down here somewhere, at the point where the there's a bridge, and then there's a helldrake that passes over and breathes fire on the bridge. There was a point at which I got there, and the scripting wouldn't work, and the game had it soft locked, meaning that in this particular case, a door that is supposed to have the interact button on it didn't have that, and I tried everything. Well, the only thing that I didn't have to do, thankfully, is restart this chapter because it's extremely long. But I uninstalled and then reinstalled the game. I tried just exiting out of the software at first, restarting the console, just trying to do anything that I could. And then I found a Steam thread, and it was a known issue. And apparently it's not fixed because I have the latest update for this game, and it's still a problem. So I read the thread, and thankfully there was a few people on there that knew how to fix the problem, even though you don't really do anything. In fact, you do pretty much nothing. As you're going up to this door that you're supposed to just go up to, and in any other situation it would just say interact and you would be able to open the door. Well, it doesn't say interact, but if you just go up to the door and then let the console, just don't pause the game or anything, but just leave the game on for in my case it was about 15 minutes. Eventually you'll get the interact prompt, and it will open. So I was just thankful that I didn't have to restart this chapter, or that there might have been no workaround. When I went through this game initially on veteran, I didn't have that problem. So it's kind of disgusting, actually. One of the people that was on the thread said they had to wait 40 minutes for it to work. Maybe they were overestimating their time or something, but I definitely had to wait a full 15 minutes before I got the prompt to appear, and it was really pathetic. And there was other instances later on in this chapter where my character, like, he would get stuck in the geometry, and I couldn't move, I couldn't press any buttons. So I was thinking to myself, maybe because we had to do that little workaround, maybe there were ripple effects later that caused certain things like that I mentioned, getting stuck in the geometry, not being able to move my character or anything, or press any button. So I bet that's what it was, actually. But it didn't affect anything other than just a couple of instances where I did have to restart the checkpoint, and then what happened, actually? I think actually I had to restart the software, go back in, and then it would work. So you're not gonna see me wait for 15 minutes. Obviously, I'm not gonna put that in the video. I'm not even gonna put that in like some kind of fast forward motion. because that would still take like several minutes on fast forward. So I'll note what it is, and if you have that problem, you can do that. So the it was just like one of these panels here, and I think this is might be where it is. Yeah, this is exactly where it is. Here's the Helldrake, and then over here you've got some Terminators and Marines and things like that. And what is supposed to happen though is that one of your teammates is like one of the generals, or I think his name is Acheron or something. He's supposed to lead you over to a pair of doors that open by themselves, and then you go through those doors with him, and it just was very frustrating. And thank God my issue was not, so singular that I, would not ever be able to figure it out. The problem on this part is that anytime you see the red flash, that means they're shooting missiles at you. So you need to be very evasive on this part as you push forward over here. And so enough about that. But I will mention what happens over here, because you'll see me just standing around for a couple seconds, because I wanted to make sure this worked, and I wanted to just baby it in the best way that I possibly could. So I went through the motions very particularly so that nothing would screw up. But it happens over here actually. So once you do clear everybody, it's going to have like, so you know how in this game it has like there's a place you go that says assemble, like you're supposed to stand next to people in an assembly point, and then things progress at that point. Well, that is what you're supposed to do normally. Just go over to where it says assemble. In this particular instance, it's not like you have to stay on a particular part of the ground or anything. So here's where it is. There's a few guys over here that are going to separate from these main ones. They're going to go through these doors. And I think I did put this in fast forward over here, or maybe not. I probably wanted to have time enough to talk about this. But you see the double doors to the right? They're going to open in just a second. See, I never had a problem with these doors opening here. So we're just waiting for them to open. And then once they do, I'm just going to follow. I could go ahead of them if I wanted to, but I just wanted to make sure that, I did this exactly as the game probably wants you to do. So here's where it says assemble. And then it was this lock in this room over here that I had to wait on for 15 minutes. So there's an edit right there, and in the space of that one frame, that was me just standing right next to the wall there, waiting for it to say interact, and then 15 minutes later it actually did. So thank God. But that is really horrible. It's awful that that's a known issue on a Steam forum that had a lot of users on it. It was a very long thread, a lot of people participating in it, and sickening is what it is basically. Just purely just bad, because I would have been really upset if I had to restart this whole chapter. This is an interesting room over here because you've got a pair of sorcerers, and you've also got some Terminators and some varied Marines over here, and and also some of these little Viking guys. But since the sorcerers have the ability to revive the other enemies that you kill, you're going to want to take out the sorcerers first, obviously. But the problem when you're doing that is that you're continually getting chased and hit at by the other enemies. So it's a little bit of a tricky room. But I did want to talk about the final boss because I do like the final boss. It's amazing that he doesn't have lackeys. because everything in this fucking game has lackeys. Every goddamn boss, the hell brute that we face before the final bosses, there's lackeys with that one too, of course, and there's also like snipers too. It's pretty horrible, but I do like the final boss. It is broken into two segments, where the first segment is really short. You just take a little bit off the boss's health bar, and it checkpoints it, and then from there on, you're on the final checkpoint. And it was really strange because like the second or third time that I tried this boss, I could have won because I got to the second stage of hitting its eye, and it was an assured victory pretty much because I was doing very well, as far as like my my mentality of thinking that I would win, but I just didn't like the fact that I had got revived multiple times, and I may have had a health kit, I may not have, but it was such an early victory that I really hadn't sat down enough to get as familiar with it as I wanted to. So then it took me like an additional hour to beat it. But the thing that I do detest about this boss is that on the second phase, every time you start it, you have to go through a process where there's some setup involved where you have to wait until he does stuff, like in this particular boss's instance, what he does is at first he'll push you down onto the ground, and then you have to get up, and then you have to dodge one of these attacks that he always does at first. That's a long-winded attack that he just does every time the fight starts, and it's kind of a drag because there is that setup involved. And the boss it's a sorcerer, and then it's also a dragon. And anytime it's the dragon, what you have is periods where you're being asked to very precisely dodge obstacles that are being thrown at you, and it's very challenging actually, because once you start getting hit, it seems like you keep getting hit by the obstacles, because you just get into one of those mindsets, and it's very difficult to get through it without certainly without taking damage. But I did use I brought a relic there to revive myself by myself. So I did get down once, but I considered that to be pretty acceptable because the boss it doesn't have much respect for your time apparently, because it's just there's just a lot of like ceremony to it, and it's just it just takes too long is the problem, because there are these long periods of having to dodge things. And there's also one instance where there's a mandatory grab that you have to do, where he summons you into like this netherworld, and he'll attack you with either blockable and parryable attacks, or attacks that you just have to dodge. And it's like, why couldn't we just be able to precisely dodge and not have to endure the junk that is that grab? And what goes on about it is it all takes too long is what it is. And you can do it quickly, and you can do your own part quickly and put them down quickly as best you can, but you always have to like participate in these drawn out sequences in this boss fight that I don't like. But beyond that, I think it's a challenging boss fight that is fun, that is done more or less right. And his attacks are very quick, and you really have to be precise with your parries, and realize that he is going to throw in some unblockables sometimes, and it's not always the easiest thing to know in which direction you're supposed to dodge either, because there are times when he's throwing out objects that you have to roll through and iframe through. You have to iframe through them, or you take pretty severe and critical amount of damage. And then there's also one part where, like on, well, you'll see it because he changes things up is what he does, and then there's 2 sessions of hitting him in his eye while there's AOE's on the ground and you're trying to avoid them. So it's a challenging boss fight overall, and I have to applaud the game for not having lackeys, because if it did have lackeys, it would just definitely be something that I would hate intensely. So the thing about the boss is that it's a level playing field for everybody who plays single player, because right before the boss, they take away your weapons and give you like prescribed weapons that you can pick up only, and there's only like a certain number of guns that you can choose from. What I believe I end up going with is the tried and true auto bolt rifle. It's a pretty good weapon for, like having midline specs and having a decent rate of fire, a good magazine amount. It's just got kind of a slow reload is its problem. But there's a sniper that you can use. There's an Oculus gun that is the gun which fires, I think it's a burst fire gun. But this is a horrible checkpoint. It's really bad, because you have to kill all of these Terminators, these Marines over here, and then you have to then fight a boss. And there's no checkpoint after this. Any other time in this game, any situation like this, you would definitely get a checkpoint. And this fight with the Helldrake, we've already fought him at the end of the last video, but he's easier this time around only because you can have him chase you around this center column piece over here, and I'm going to pick up a Melt-A-Bomb and just place it down over here for him. There's spawn drop-offs over here. There's going to be a collection of the humans, snipers, and also Vikings. So you definitely want to clear these ones up, because while you're fighting the boss, they could be sniping at you. So it's really horrible in that respect. But you'll witness here a very sloppy fight on my part. But I got to the point where I really did not care about my performance a whole hell of a lot, because of that horrendous checkpoint. I hated to have to do that previous fight every time, because it's not an easy fight at all. But do not worry about what you end up having on the final boss, because you're going to have what the game allows you to have. And there's also, as far as you're worrying about the frag grenades or crack grenades, you're going to have your choice of having, like, either one of those you can pick up right before the boss. A full set of either crack grenades or the frags. I would pick up the crack grenades if I were you, because you can toss them on the boss, they'll stick to him and explode, and it does decent damage. And then, but the only thing that you can't get though is health packs. So make sure that you have health packs maxed out and have a relic, and that will help you as well. Because on the boss arena, there's only ammunition. On the lower difficulties, there very well could be. But if you're watching this for a walkthrough on how to beat this difficulty, obviously, you're going to have the same experience that I had about what this all is. So we've already fought this guy in the last video, but do you see what you can do to him? You can just circle around this whole area over here and just play Ring Around the Rosie with him, essentially. And the process is relatively simple. He's got nothing new up his sleeve, so don't worry about that at all. And then there's more drop-offs over here. More drop-offs, excuse me, all snipers. So, and then also you can't go back to that area that had those weapons. At the end of that cave, remember, there were some weapons, there was a heal, there was some other good stuff. You can't go back there until the fight's over. They seal that area up. So bear that in mind as well. And then the thing about this boss is that the final boss, that is, that the faster you reduce him to certain health point thresholds, the different sort of phases you can usher him into early. So you can actually have a not a completely different fight, but you can have a different fight from somebody else that is not draining his health as quickly as you might be, and then you might get to that phase where you're shooting his eye a lot quicker than somebody else who's a little slower than that. On my particular fight, I was pretty slow about the whole process. I just wanted to be very precise and not get damaged too much, because if you are getting damaged on the boss, your shields get wiped out real fast, and also you take some pretty significant damage, particularly on any projectile that the dragon is sending out your way to dodge. Yeah, this is a really sloppy fight. You'll have to excuse this one, but like I said, I stopped caring very shortly into my attempts at doing this because of that horrendous checkpoint. So, it's just it's a challenging boss fight, like I said, because you're doing so many gymnastics around the room, and you've got to be really on the mark about your dodges. I mean, they have to be very precise and very skillfully pulled off. Otherwise, you're just going to get hit repeatedly. They're not the hardest thing in the world. And I've got some good tips about certain ones of them that might make it a little bit easier for you to stay alive on it. But just bear in mind that you'll have a relic if you save one. So just make sure you save your relic so that you can revive yourself. And then, of course, if you want to go beyond that, you can also have your teammates pick you up 1 or 2 times, depending on how significantly you're getting punished. And then, I mean, it's the same for everybody. Like, the only melee weapon you'll have is the chain sword. We have the hammer now, but it's, like I said, it's going to switch you to what is the prescribed setup for this boss. And the chain sword is very good too. And realize when you do your perfect parries, he's going to give you the opportunity to punish him. And what you want to be doing is doing the longest combo that you can do and pull off successfully. Which the longest combo is actually the stomp. It's XXX hold X. And if you don't have time enough to do that, you can do X hold, or you can do X hold. In the punishment phase, you can be sticking him with proximity mines, the crack grenades. But the real best thing to do is you want to do a long combo, and then you want to do a gun strike. That will deal maximum damage to him, but it has to be done quickly. And you can't mess the combo up, even though I messed mine up quite a bit because I just kind of get my nerves start to really come undone, and it's it is a challenging fight, and I don't hate it. I don't hate it, but I do hate all of the ceremony about it and the long-windedness of certain parts. This field over here, this is where I kept getting stuck into the field. But after I reset the software, reset my console probably, and then reloaded, I was able to get through this field without, getting stuck or not being able to press any buttons. And I do think it is the fallout of that workaround we had to do with the door about standing there for 15 minutes. I feel sorry for the person who had to stand there for 40 minutes, even though I don't believe that that's true. I think it is about 15 minutes. I can't imagine someone having to stand there for 40 minutes. I think they just lost track of time or something, because there's like 3 or 4 people that all confirmed it was like 15 minutes, not 40. But who knows? I don't know. I have no clue. But all I know is that I'm glad I did not have to restart this stage. So I think we're almost actually on the boss fight. So do you notice how we have our heal, we have our 2 med kits on hand, we've got a guardian relic. We don't have any crack grenades, but like I said, it's okay because there's some right before the boss. And then it's going to be up to you what weapon of a few select weapon choices you want to pick and bring to the fight. So, I don't know. I think most people would probably pick the auto bolt rifle just because it is so consistent and reliable. So I would recommend picking that one up if I were you. Okay, so there's just a bit of running over here, and I didn't look very thoroughly around all these ruins, but I don't know if there is anything. I think everything is up on the top of the hill over here in this location. Don't worry about these people. It's all an illusion, so don't worry about it. But definitely, let's see what we have actually. There's the crack grenades. I know there's a sniper. You've got the instigator bolt carbine, the auto bolt rifle. That's what I would pick right there. And then see, there's a Oculus, and then there's a marksman, and then a regular bolt rifle. The first stage of this boss fight, I did do it no damage, but it's a real brief stage. You'll see what it is. So the fight's going to start right up here, and here he goes. He's going to be teleporting just like that, and then every time you see that blue flash, you perfect parry it. Anytime he does that, that needs to be avoided. That's an AoE. So this is just a little teaser for what's coming up, and here he goes with having that doppelganger attack. And as you can see, when you do parry, you're rewarded with a gun strike and an opening to punish. Okay, so here it is. So you're gonna get blown down every time, which is unfortunate. Okay, so this is Amura, and the first thing that he does is always this long-winded telegraph here with his staff, and then he does this. So whenever you see this, just get to the sides. They won't ever hit you. So fill up your ammo, and then after they all go away, run up here, start shooting him, and then he's going to start attacking you. So he attacks, like I said, very quickly, and I screwed it up at first. You noticed he did 2 rushes, and then he did an unblockable. And then whenever he's far away from you and he has the red flash, he's going to throw projectiles at you. So do a combo and then do a gun strike. And then, of course, you can also use those crack grenades because they're very good. Okay, so anytime you get him down to this point, he's going to use his magic to do these. Now these are one of the hardest for me to dodge. I found that not even dodging sometimes is better than dodging, because you can just get in between those waves. And if you have to dodge, but try to just get in between them. And then these are the shockwaves that you have to iframe through. I think there's always 4. And then if you lose track of him, just look for the red indicator on the ground which way it's pointing, because he keeps moving around, so it can be hard to keep track of him. And then here's the obligatory grab. So I always thought that you could somehow avoid that, but I came to the conclusion that there's just no way to. If you know of a way, good for you, because I definitely envy you that. Now on this phase, it's always the same thing, although he mixes up his pattern sometimes. He'll throw several projectiles at you at some point, and then he'll do the parryable rush attacks on you. So that's not how to dodge those. That was pretty poor. But then once you get back into the fight, you're back to fighting him now. And the thing about this boss, though, is that he does like to keep like running away and then shifting from phase to phase. So, and it is dependent on his health as well. So again, just stand on the sidelines there anytime he does that. And starting on like this, like the second time he starts doing this attack, the last one that he does, you'll notice that it slows down, and you have to watch. There'll be some slowdown, and you have to double back. It should happen here. See how this slowdown? It's extremely hard to dodge that, but if the more that you do it, the more you might feel like you're getting the hang of it, because it is a little bit out of your hands sometimes, the feeling of that, but it is very difficult. These are objects that I don't shoot. I just dodge those, and then oftentimes he'll throw the weapon, and after the first parry off a throw, expect him to throw another one, so he'll do it twice. And then there's also times where you'll start having this. So this is the first period here where there's going to be AoEs on the ground. So what I like to do is just look for the AoEs on the ground, and then when they've all exploded, then and only then do I start shooting his eye. And I play it real safe here. So I just, again, just I find it too risky to shoot while they're all going off, and kind of hoping that they're not going to go off near you, because they'll go right under you. So it's a lot better to just wait until they all explode. And here he is coming in with his real fast hits. That spinning attack right there, you can iframe it going left or right, but to get out of the way of it, you want to roll backwards. So remember that. Roll backwards on that one. And then he's giving us a real good opportunity to punish him here. So do a combo if you can. There I did XX, X hold, and then into gun strike. Watch out for that. I was a little bit too late. I'm doing fairly well. But now he's going to start throwing the waves. I just really have a problem with these. They're hard to evade. Sometimes he does 3, sometimes he does 4, but you see how much health we lost there? It's quite a bit. But I did have the ability to heal off there. And he did it again. I've never seen him do this twice in a row. Because he usually does, well, he always does the wave, and then he does the shock, like those bubbles that you have to iframe through. So, just keep hitting him. Keep your eye out for those projectiles that he casts. Notice that he does have that doppelganger attack there. So, whichever one is closest to you, just line your parry directly up and be quick about it. and be real quick about getting your ammo too. Okay, so just iframe through it. It is really easy to lose track of him sometimes off here, and I think we do have to have the slowdown again. The slowdown's real hard. Here it is. Yeah, I rolled too early, but I'm surprised that didn't take that much away. So I used the Righteous Fury right here to give myself some health back. And then, again, just stand on the sidelines here. And then he should be going back into his sorcerer form over here. So once you get to the second session of shooting his eye, once you do pop the eye a second time, that's it. You've won. So be looking out for that. Also be careful of that. Watch out for his throws. A good time to throw, if you want to stick him with crack grenades, after you do a perfect parry, you'll have the gunstrike icon on him. A good time, because he won't like disappear at that point. So you can throw actually 2 crack grenades on him real quick, and then actually do a gunstrike on that, and that will deal some good damage. So I think this is where I may have perished. So, I don't mind that too much. I didn't really fall that many times during my campaign, which I was proud. I'm proud to say that, because I thought I'd be falling a lot more. A hell of a lot more than that on this difficulty, but this difficulty is actually quite manageable. So we need to take care of him just one more time if we can, stay alive. I do have the ability to get picked up by my teammates though, if I had fallen again though. So, that's a good thing there. But man, he attacks so fast, and his attacks come out of nowhere sometimes. It's very challenging. And here's this phase. Okay, so there's nothing new about this phase. Okay, again, just survey the ground very closely and roll out of the way of any explosions. And then after they've all detonated, just shoot them in the eye, and don't overdo it though. Because you have enough time here. I don't think this is on a timer or anything that's gonna fail you, or miss your chance, because I did this really, really slowly, and I still was able to pop his eye without him, transitioning to another phase or anything like that. But there you have it. That is where I'm actually going to end the guide, because there is some additional content after this, but at this point, you just go through the motions, and I hope that the guide helped, because it is a fine game. It is a fine game, and I really do enjoy it, and I have no complaints about doing the walkthrough or having played the game on this difficulty. And I do regret to inform you that there is no achievement for clearing the game, unfortunately, on this difficulty. I personally, it would be nice if that was something that you got, but I'm not going to worry about it, because for me, the satisfaction of completing the difficulty, that's enough. That's fine for me. That's all I really need, as far as a sense of accomplishment. I don't need a medal popping up on the screen, to further enforce that I did it. But again, those are nice, as confirmation and things like that. But I do hope that everything worked out for you on this walkthrough. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that it helped you to get through the game. And I will see you on my next project. And until we see each other again, please take care. Be good to one another, and try to be kind, and I'll try to do the same in kind. So I will see you, like I mentioned, in my next project. And until we see each other again, please take care.